The textbook case study that I'd like to talk about happened in May 26, 2016 in Oregon. The IAFF, the firefighters union, was in a bidding war with the two cities, Eugene and Springfield, that had a joint union together, joint chapter. They were in a disagreement about the collective bargaining agreement, where the union's last best offer was a 2-year contract with a 5% increase in wages across the board, and that includes the retroactive increase from whatever specific date they set. And the city's best offer was a 3-year contract that had two 3.5% increases and a 3.3% increase within those 3 years, one being retroactive, the others two being throughout the lifespan of the contract. This would bring the total increase of the contract would be 10%, but it would take more time for the firefighters to make that amount of money. This case went to arbitration because neither sides could agree, and the arbitrator ruled in the favor of the city's offer. They found that the slow increase of the percentage that would end up in a total of 10% was a generous offer, and that the pace of the change was better suited for the budget of the local government or governments, as well as finding that the 3-year length of the contract also aided the cities in not having a massive spike in the budget immediately. It allowed gradual growth and allowed the city to plan for the increase in spending that they had. What we can learn from this is that it is a perfect example of why things go to arbitration, how they're done. Obviously, neither side could agree. In the end, I believe that the arbitrator made the better decision with the long term for both the cities and the firefighters. The newsletter case study that I want to talk about happened in Cleveland, Ohio, where the Ohio Court of Appeals sided with the arbitrator in that the city broke their CBA with the union when the fire chief made a change stating that due to budget they had to lay off 15 part-time firefighters, and that would reduce the daily staff to 8 instead of 10, which was in the collective bargaining agreement. So reducing it from 8 to 10 thus broke that contract, and because of this, the arbitrator ruled with the union in that these firefighters deserve to have their job backs and have retroactive back pay, including any overtime hours that they could have or probably would have taken. Because the city broke the CBA by improperly reducing the amount of firefighters needed to run a shift at the house, and they disagreed, the union and the city disagreed that this was the case. This had to go to arbitration, and in the arbitration it was a pretty obvious choice, and it was clear that they broke the agreement and that the firefighters who lost their jobs unnecessarily would receive reparations for what they lost. The current events case study that I would like to talk about happened in Detroit, Michigan. It happened in May 24th, 2022, when a elected official within their chapter of the IAFF was sentenced to 1 year in federal prison after a fraud scheme that saw him take more than $200,000 from union members and spend it on lavish vacations around the world, cruises, and many other goods that he felt he needed. This is in line with what's going on currently in Detroit as they are cracking down on the corruption of public officials, making this union official the first fire employee to be arrested for any kind of fraud in at least a decade. But he is part of 110 Detroit public officials that were caught being corrupt, either taking money from, like in this case, a union, or just from any of the people improperly. To me, this case is extremely unacceptable. This isn't what the union is for. It's to help our fellow firefighters and to give us a bigger voice so that we can be heard when it comes to problems we're having with our commanding officers, and more likely the local governments, the city managers, the mayors, etc. Those entities are too big for one firefighter to do that job, and that's why you have a union with everybody coming together and saying what they want. The good thing that we could take away from this is that this person is no longer in that position in the union where he could take away, or could continue to take away, money from his fellow firefighters who worked very hard for it, and they paid their dues because they expect to be helped, not for it to be taken and blown away.